Hi, friends, and welcome back to your weekly astrology forecast. This week, we are going to be diving into one of the most important weeks of this month of April. I have been talking about it for the last 2 weeks. This is where everything finally changes. This is where everything finally shifts and the clarity finally arrives. Because for the last 2 weeks specifically, but even a little bit longer, things have been feeling very confusing. Things have been feeling like you just don't have all of the answers. You don't have the clarity. This week, the clarity finally comes and decisions actually get made, and they get made rather quickly. Things start moving rather quickly after this week. So let's dive into it. And this is going to be for the week of April 19th to the main signs that are going to be affected, as have been affected for the last 2 weeks, is going to be the cardinal signs. But honestly, this week, every single sign is going to be feeling something in one shape, way, or form, simply because we do have planets moving into different signs this week. So let's just start off by listing everything that's happening this week. It's going to sound a little confusing because I'm going to be using the astrological terms. And then we're going to jump into what this means day by day and how you can expect it to play out in your life. So starting off the week strong, we're going to have on Sunday, Mars conjunct Saturn. That one's the toughest one. And the sun is moving into the sign of Taurus. So happy birthday, Tauruses. You are now entering your season. On Monday, the day right after, we are having Mercury conjunct Saturn, another very intense transit, and Mercury conjunct Mars, another very intense transit. All the heavy stuff is happening at the beginning of the week. Tuesday is not too crazy. Wednesday, not too crazy. Then on Thursday, we have Venus conjunct Uranus. Very interesting. Right at 29 degrees as well. We're going to talk about that. And then on Friday, we have Venus moving into Gemini. On Saturday, we have Uranus moving into Gemini, the long-awaited Uranus moving into Gemini transit that so many astrologers have been talking about for the last few years. I'm going to make a whole separate video on Uranus moving into Gemini because this is a 7-year-long transit that will be affecting us in many different ways. But let's just stay focused on this week, and let's start with the beginning of the week, right? So I said that we're going to have Mars conjunct Saturn. What is a conjunction? It's essentially when the two planets meet up together in the sky. So they're exactly right on top of each other. If you look up in the night sky, you're going to see Saturn and Mars together on that day. On that same day, the sun is going to be moving into the sign of Taurus as well. So we're going to be having a different type of energy, slightly different from all the Aries energy, but we're still going to have a lot of Aries placements still. So let's go a little deeper into the Mars conjunct Saturn, because these are the two malefics in astrology, known by ancient astrologers to be the malefics because they usually bring more, I don't want to say negative, but they're just a lot more difficult type of situations to the forefront. So you have the two malefics coming together in the sky, both in the sign of Aries, a very passionate, a very forceful, very individualistic, wanting to do what's best for me, selfish type of energy. And Mars is very passionate. It wants to do it now. Saturn's like, no, 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 no. We can't go just yet. You have to be patient. And so there's like this energy of wanting to go, but there's something holding us back. It's something saying like, you can't go just yet. It's like the wheels are spinning and it's burning out, but the car isn't moving, right? So that's kind of the energy, especially with the Taurus energy coming in too. Taurus is about wanting stability. It's wanting security. It's wanting something that's long lasting. And Aries is like, I don't care about that. I need to go right now. I don't worry about that later. And Saturn's like, no, 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 no. I understand you want to go, and like I like your passion. I like your enthusiasm, but like we really need to think this through because we can't just do short-term thinking here. We need to plan this out. We need to have a strategy, right? So there's this push and pull of wanting to go, of having all this energy, wanting to move, but there's something holding us back because we need to be strategic and we need to think about this for real. If we want something, if we're really thinking about the long term, if we're really thinking about our future, we need to take a breath and we need to slow down a little bit. Even though there's a lot of energy bubbling up under the surface that wants us to just like get it over with already because it feels so uncomfortable. So that's Sunday. And then on Monday, we have Mercury conjunct Saturn. So once again, conjunction, two planets coming together in the sky. So the day before we had Mars and Saturn coming together. The next day we have Mercury and Saturn coming together. So Mercury is also jumping in, being like, hey, I'm joining the party. And Mercury is also conjoining Mars as well. So it's on Monday is going to be Mercury, Saturn, and Mars all together. Mercury is our intellect, it's our communication. And being in the sign of Aries, which it is, it wants to just say things. It just wants to get it out. It doesn't care how other people feel, it doesn't care about how it hurts other people. It just says what's on its mind without really thinking about the repercussions. Once again, Saturn luckily is here trying to temper that energy and try Saturn's the only one that's holding on by a thread, trying to be like, guys, please. Please, we cannot be so impulsive here. We cannot just go based off of our desires, off of our immediate gut reactions. We need to think things through. We cannot just immediately go off of our impulses because we may make some bad decisions. And so with Mercury and Mars coming in, it's like, no, we need to just say it. We need to get it out and it needs to happen right now. And then Saturn's like, oh God, please bring it back in. Saturn's like the disciplinarian. It is it is the authority figure coming in and slapping you on the wrist because you said something crazy and all of a sudden now it's created a whole type of mess of problems because you spoke out of pocket, you said something you weren't supposed to say, and now it's created a cascade of issues, right? But Saturn is trying to prevent that from happening. Saturn's trying to come in and try to get you to slow down and think about things before you just blurt things out, before you just blurt what's on your mind, before you just allow yourself to succumb to your desires and to your passions and your impulses, and speaking from that place of selfishness and not caring about how that's going to affect you in the long term. So that's the energy that we have going on in the beginning. We have this push and pull energy. There's a lot of energy of wanting to go, 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 but there's also energy of like, you need to hold back. You need to think about the future. You need to think about how what you say right now and what you do right now will have a cascade effect to your future in ways that may not be reversible. I would not make, for the last 2 weeks, I've been saying this, do not make any major decisions that you cannot easily reverse or take back or simply apologize for. Because now with all this energy, with this Aries energy that we've been having, it's a lot of impulsive decisions. It's a lot of impulsive actions, a lot of impulsive words, a lot of things just coming out and not thinking about the future and not realizing how the things that you do can affect the future in ways that may not be reversible. Saturn's trying to get us to see that. The sun in Taurus is trying to get us to see that. It's trying to center us to our values because Taurus is about our values. What do we care about? It's about building stability. And so we do have certain energies in our favor of trying to secure that stability. But we also have certain energies that are like, okay, but is my stability and my security and is thinking about the long term getting in the way of what I want to do right now? And you need to be able to see that sometimes what you want right now in the moment and the things that you're feeling and these strong impulses and these strong desires, and you're like, I need to act on them right now. Acting from that place can sometimes lead to long term consequences. It's about being strategic if you actually want to build something long term and of value, right? Now, as we move on into the week, into Thursday, we have a little bit, once again, a little bit more destabilizing energy because we have Venus conjunct, once again, coming together. Venus conjunct Uranus. These are two different energies now that we haven't spoke about. Venus is about our relationships, our love, harmony, trying to keep the peace, money as well. Uranus is disruption. It's chaos. It's also awakening. It is awakening through disruption. It is quick changes. It is sudden insights, bursts of awareness. These two planets coming together, so Venus relationships, coming together with the awakener, Uranus, who brings flashes of insight and intuition. On Thursday is going to be the day when it seems like it all starts to make sense. All of a sudden, the pieces start to come together. And you get that flash of intuition, you get that flash of insight, and you're like, I realize what this was all for now. I realize what I need to do, and then you can actually start taking action on it, right? Because now you have that clarity, now you have that awareness, and you've also had the patience, and you've had the restriction of Saturn coming in to tell you to hold back. You don't have all the details yet. You don't have all the information yet. All will be revealed soon. On Thursday, all will be revealed. All will be revealed. You may not like it though. I'm not going to say you like it, because sometimes Uranus in the tarot is associated with the Tower card. It's literally a giant building on fire and people falling out of the building. It is destroying, it is destruction so that something else can be rebuilt. It is the destruction of the old so that the new can come in. And it's even more symbolic and powerful on this day because this is happening at the 29th degree. Last degree of every sign is 29 degrees. So this is the last degrees of Taurus. And Taurus is about stability. It is what we value. It is building something of value, of stability, something that feels comfortable. And so it's finally getting this awareness and this hit of what is it that we value? What did we see as stability in the past that may not resonate with our current idea of what stability is? That may be shifting and changing now because the days right after, both signs move into Gemini. So the energy shifts. The energy shifts from stable, secure, wanting something that's comfortable, wanting something that feels good, to something that's more cerebral, something that's more mental. Gemini is more of a flirtatious type of energy. Gemini loves to talk to other people and learn different perspectives. It loves to just shape shift kind of and transform and be different people for different types of people, right? So the next day on Friday, we have Venus moving into the sign of Gemini. It moves out of the energy of Taurus, which once again is comfortable, stable, feels good, into Gemini. It's more mental, it's more cerebral. You want something that's more mentally and intellectually stimulating. And mind you, these transits are temporary. Venus stays in a sign for like a month and a half at most. However, the day right after, on Saturday, Uranus moves into the sign of Gemini, and this is a 7-year-long transit. This is the long-awaited Uranus in Gemini. I don't even want to say long-awaited because a lot of people have been scared of this transit and what it may bring because of the associations of what Uranus in Gemini has brought in the past. And I will touch on those in the Uranus and Gemini video. But it is overall a lot of shifting energies, a lot of changes in energies, moving more towards something that feels logical. We're moving away from a grounded type of energy. We're moving into a more energy that is fluid because Gemini is a mutable sign and it is an air sign. Air sign is constantly shifting, constantly moving, especially a mutable air sign like Gemini. It is ultimate movement and fluidity. And so both Venus, the planet of love and relationships, and Uranus, the chaos disruptor, but also the awakener, are both moving into a sign that has to do with our mental communication, but also our ability to be flexible, our ability to be mobile, to shift and change and moving away from old paradigms and old structures that have been stable. We're moving into a whole new era of that's asking us to be more flexible. That's asking us to be more open to change because things will be changing so rapidly over the course of the next 7 years. With Uranus and Taurus, changes are slow. Even though Uranus is still quick changes, it's sudden changes, it's still in the slow moving sign of Taurus. Taurus is one of the slowest moving earth signs because it is a fixed earth sign. It is literally fixed, immovable earth. We are now moving into mutable, airy Gemini. So it's shifting, changing, swift. The changes that are going to be happening are going to be intense and they're going to happen quickly, and it will require a level of flexibility and adaptation that may be difficult for certain people that have a lot more like fixed placements, for example. So fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. But overall, it is not something that we cannot all get through together. It's going to be a very major week, once again, with a lot of shifting energies. There's going to be revelations. There's going to be a lot of insights that come in that allow us to understand where it is that we're meant to be going. Patience, discipline, moderation in your temper, will be very much needed at the beginning of the week. Things will feel intense. It will feel like this energy is just bubbling up within you, and you want to make a decision and you want to finally get out of it because you're so tired of feeling this confusion. You're so tired of feeling like you don't know what to do. You just kind of want to make a decision to just get it over with, right? But Saturn and Taurus is asking us, hold back, restrain yourself, think it through. The answers will come in due time, and you will have the clarity, and you will know the clarity is there. You will know what to do once the clarity arrives. So don't rush the process. By the end of the week, you will make a decision, and it could possibly be completely different from what you initially thought you wanted. Because Uranus is like a 180 flip. It comes in whenever we have Uranus transits. It's like you were going down a certain path, and then all of a sudden you get this flash of inspiration, new information, intuition, or whatever it is. And suddenly you realize you need to go in the complete opposite direction. Actually, the direction you've been going in is not where you're meant to be going. You need to be going in the opposite direction. And so I would say, once again, just be open, be flexible to whatever information, intuition, inspiration comes to you, especially towards the end of the week. That's when the Uranus transit is going to be hitting the hardest. In the beginning of the week, it's going to be a little bit difficult. It's going to feel like a push and pull between like, what do I want and what's stable? What do I want and what's good for the long term? But towards the end of the week, and as we move into this Uranus and Gemini transit, we're going to be called to be more flexible. We're going to be called to be more open to changes. And that may completely change our mindset and our ideas of what we thought we wanted and what we thought we needed, and what was comfortable before may no longer work with this new paradigm that's coming in, these new structures that are coming in. That is the energy that we have going on this week. Like I said, every single sign will be affected. I didn't bring my cards with me, so I unfortunately don't have my tarot cards to do the tarot for this week, but we will get through it. The week following this is pretty chill. Okay, so I want you guys to rest easy in knowing that I want to say like some of the hardest transits of this month are now over. Obviously, I mean, we're at the end of the month. There's not really much left, but we'll talk about the Uranus and Gemini in another video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I put out videos like this, energetic readings, every single week on Sundays, so you can be updated with all the astrological happenings. And if you would like, and if you want to keep watching more of them, subscribe to my channel. I have more astrology videos coming out. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. Leave me any comments below letting me know what it is that you're experiencing, things that you're going through. If you would like a personal reading and seeing what's going on in your chart, I have a link down below. You can book on my website. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.